In this problem, what I'm asked to do is find the midpoint in the length of segment AB. We know that to find the midpoint on a number line, all we really need to do is average the coordinates of the two endpoints. So my midpoint, which I'll call M, can be found by averaging -3 and 7. So I'm going to say -3 plus 7 divided by 2. So that's 4 divided by 2, or 2. So I know the midpoint of this has a coordinate of 2. What I want to do now is find the length of the segment. We saw in class that segment AB can be found when you're looking on a number line by simply taking the absolute value of the difference in the coordinates of the endpoint. So this will be the absolute value of -10 or 10. Now, if you remember me talking in class, I said those that like to follow formulas can use this formula, but if you wanted to look at it conceptually, just think, you're moving from -3 to a +7. It'll take you 3 spaces to get to 0, plus the 7 spaces to get on out to 7, so you're going to get 10 that way. So you can either follow a formula or you can use the conceptualization. What about if this has a coordinate plane where we have both an x and a y value? Well, to find the midpoint, we're basically doing the same thing, only we need to do this for our x values. So we're going to take the x values, add them and divide by 2 for our x coordinate. Take our y values, divide by 2 for our y coordinate. So in this case, we have a -5 plus 7 divided by 2. And for my y's, we have a -7 plus 9 divided by 2. When we do our arithmetic here, that's 2 over 2, which is 1, and that's 2 over 2, which is 1. So at the point 1, 1 is our midpoint. Now to find the length of this segment, we saw that we can use, to get from AB, we can basically use our distance formula. I know that quite often it's written as y2 minus y1 or x2 minus x1. Remember we talked in class that we simply say that is the change in x squared and the change in y squared. So when I start thinking of my change in x, I'm thinking of how far across I'm going. To go from -5 to 7 is to go 12, so that's going to be 12 squared. And my change in y is how much up and down. I'm going from a -7 up to a +9, so that's going to be 16 squared. And so then I can work that out. It's a little easier than doing the entire distance formula. 12 squared plus 16 squared is going to be 20. We had some other problems where they didn't draw it out for us, but they simply gave us our points. I showed you a little bit easier way to think of that. We have an endpoint. We're looking for a midpoint, and we have another endpoint. If this endpoint is -5, 7, and this one is 9, 3, I know I'm trying to get in the middle, so I will average them. 9 plus -5 is 4 divided by 2 is 2. 7 plus 3 is 10 divided by 2 is 5. So that gives us our midpoint. If they give us an endpoint of -3, 5, and a midpoint of 4, 9, and we're looking for the other endpoint, then we need to remember, like on a graph that is sort of like a slope, in order to see how we go from the endpoint to the midpoint, in this case I would be going up 7 spaces from -3 to 4, and over here I would simply be going up 4 spaces. So to get to my other endpoint, I'll just follow that same pattern. I'll go up 7 more spaces for 11. I will go up 4 more spaces for 13, and so I have my other endpoint. Now we could do that algebraically by using our formula and plugging in and solving, but I think conceptually this is a little easier way to do it.